I think there's people who think that like the harder thing is the halal thing and the easier thing.
This is the next stage that I was going to talk about, the result of this.
I always come back to hijab, but like there's people who think that like niqab is like far, like they need to wear niqab. Like there's some women who think that, and like I definitely don't believe that, but I think that like those women will get like more reward, or they will get a lot of reward because like they're doing what they think is right. You know?
I would not use that as a measurement, because it may be that for someone else, just putting it on partially is way more difficult, but they're trying. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that just, inshallah, Allah Ta'ala will give everyone the reward that they deserve or better. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So what would you say would, like, because, like, hold on, let me think of questions.
Take your time.
I had it.
We can come back to you.
Oh, wait. So, like, what would suffering, like, self-imposed suffering be okay if it meant that, you know, that you could be more focused on Allah for your attention?
So the way to do that is when you have a teacher who's giving you actual prescriptions to help you in terms of your heart.
So, like, because the Sufis, you know, they have, like, self-imposed poverty.
But it would be under the guidance of a teacher, like a doctor of the heart. You know what I'm saying?
Because he notices that that's your weakness.
Yeah, exactly.
That you find solace in those things.
Mm-hmm.
So he puts you through those tests to help you persevere and grow yourself in that area of your weakness.
So it'd be very, very precise according to you.
I mean,
and this amount, you know, for this long.
I think like one can argue that if you're in a state of so much difficulty to the point where you can't function, you know, maybe that's actually taking away from your ibadah. You know? If you're allowing it to happen, you know, like if you're living in a state where you're being oppressed, you know, and you're allowing it to happen such that you're obsessed with that rather than obeying, you know, following the commandments of God, you know.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to be militant about what's fard, and you have to be militant about what's haram. And what will inevitably happen if my focus, if my outlook is on the quality of my comfort and suffering, then I will become lax in some aspects of fard and haram. Right? So that's where you have to be super militant on. Like, these are the goalposts. Those you can't move. And then you leave it up to Allah Ta'ala to give you suffering, right? That's up to Him. Because again, I think even trying to truly put that into practice in a consistent way, you'd have to then decide what is the proper amount of suffering for me to exhibit, you know. And why only do it on Hajj? Why not doing it for every one of my prayers? You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, if I decide, okay, to really get this sense of taqwa from fasting, all I'm going to do is eat 3 dates for suhoor and 3 dates for iftar and nothing else for the whole month. Yeah, good luck. You know, if Allah
do you think that taking that same argument, you know, with self-imposed suffering, like, I mean, if it's winter outside and you want to pray on time, and you know you're out there in the winter and you're praying in the snow, I mean, like you want to do the right thing. So I guess it really boils down to intention, really, because if you're doing this because I want to pray on time and I don't want to do, and you're not even thinking of it as something you're going through that's suffering, you're just thinking of it, I have to fulfill an obligation, I'm going to do it, but you're going through it without thinking that you're putting yourself through suffering to get more reward. You know what I'm saying?
I think that can work to a degree if you're alone, right? If you're head of a household, and then you put your kids through it, then chances are grandkids or great-grandkids are not going to be Muslim.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm too lax, I'm watering things down. If I'm too strict, I'm going to have blowback.
Yeah.
Right? And so the point that I was leading to is that the deeper problem that is formed in the community, and it's all the same thread, is this notion that if something is more strict, it's more halal. And that's totally wrong. Or I should say it's half wrong. Meaning, we're of the middle way. Yeah, big lesson. Okay, so when I'm hit with suffering, anything I don't like, right? Even if it's like, you know, I'm listening to some teacher in a sweater vest and I just wish he'd shut up. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And what is the result? Ayah 157. Ula'ika alayhim salawat min rabbihim wa rahmah. They are the ones who get salawat from their Rabb and mercy. How?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
So 157 says, okay, these people who are hit with suffering, and they say and they have the attitude that, okay, we're from God and to Him is a return. 157 says, these people have the mercy from their Lord, and they have salawat, these blessings from their nourisher.
I think that the recognition that in this incident, there's difficulty, but in the end, it doesn't alter us from our goal.
Yeah.
And it's just another milestone. Even to recognize that gives you a perspective where you can go through it knowing that there's something at the end, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will aid you through it.
Mm-hmm. This is a fun, and I think I might have mentioned this last time. We always talk about, like, what if you have someone who's an atheist but they're good and this and that. I've met many atheist, agnostic type people who have really good manners and such, but I've never met someone who really can go through suffering, right? I've met a lot who can deal with life, right? But to really handle suffering, I think you actually need belief.
What does that mean to really handle?
Like to really, I mean, suppose, you go through a family tragedy. When you have belief, it's giving you a bigger picture, right? How to make sense of it, right? And if you don't have that, then you start making up all kinds of bizarre things.
I mean, do you expect every atheist to go bonkers, if their family member passes away?
I'm saying far more atheists do than people believe.
I think this is kind of reminiscent of Buddhism. Okay, I feel I don't know, just because the way that this is if you feel like you lost something, you're supposed to remind yourself of how everything is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's kind of desire is the root of whatever.
Okay.
In Buddhism. But I think it's interesting, right?
Okay, I would say half agree, right? Half agree, because this is all about suffering, which is what Buddhism is about. That part I'd agree on. The other end, Buddhism's answer is that you disconnect and not care about anything. Kind of like what you were saying, so imagine not caring about anything. And what we're saying is, no, you care about everything a lot, right? But you care about Allah Ta'ala more. Right? That the true believer cares about every person tremendously, right? Every tree and everything tremendously, but you understand Allah Ta'ala owns it. So the first half is exactly like Buddhism, the second half is the polar opposite. Make sense?
Yeah.
Do Buddhist people believe in the universe or a direction that everything flows in or something? Do they have something that
Like a day of judgment?
no, a spirit or a universe that they can submit to? Because I feel like there's some element of submission to, the universe or some type of oblivion that's.
I'm not sure if I'm quite understanding, so let me try and answer, and you can tell me if that gives you an answer. No.
Hold on. Let me try to digest that answer.
So, I mean, the closest thing would be a set of rules of how life works,
Okay.
right? This idea. So think of Hindu religions and think of Buddhism as being the middle way among Hindu religions, right?
Okay.
Saying all the other Hindu religions are excessive in some way or the other, and then there's an idea of just everything is cyclical,
Okay.
right? So there is a cause and effect to what I do. So that would be one of the rules of life that I can't escape. You know what I'm saying? And so the key with suffering is that the whole path of Buddhism is to understand that the world is suffering and then the way out of suffering, right?
The way out is suffering.
The way out of suffering, right? Which enlightenment is basically detached from everything. So you're submitting to the idea that there are a set of rules, but something bigger than yourself. They do have belief. Different schools of Buddhism do have beliefs in deities and things that we would call special powers and all those things. But in terms of an idea of submission beyond just accepting this is how things work, I'd say no. Any other questions or thoughts? Okay, we'll stop here. Next time we will do Safa and Marwa. Anything else? You ready? You want to give us a dua? You don't
No.
leave? All right. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. Okay, may Allah reward you all. And I think we had a very, very big, vital lesson today. Not that the others aren't, but the nature of life. I had one teacher who recites those ayahs literally every single rakat of every prayer, pretty much.
These two?
That's inna lillahi, you know, all that, yeah.
It's like a reminder to don't make it.
Also, this is like Barza, purgatory. What is that?
So Barzakh is essentially almost always referring to something that's in between. So Barzakh, usually we're talking about that period in between death and Day of Judgment. Purgatory is in Catholic tradition. I don't think it's an original Catholic tradition. It was imposed later on. Those people who are neither going to heaven or hell, or they haven't quite earned heaven, so they gotta wait.
So it's like after the Day of Judgment?
It's part of, yeah.
The one thing that I haven't really understood is, what do you call it, when you talk about heaven and we talk about the Arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So I understand like they're just spheres of existence kind of, and the last sphere of existence is where the limits of where the universe ends, and beyond that is whatever is out there beyond the universe. But Barzakh is actually a realm of existence that's on Earth, right?
Seems like it.
Okay.
But again, it's in the unseen, so it becomes scholarly speculation.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there was that hadith about Umar radiallahu anhu that, you know, and I think you may have talked about it in one of the earlier ayahs about the soul entering into this green bird that will
Oh, the shaheeds?
serve, for the shaheeds that'll survey Jannah and so on.
That's what we're talking.
I thought that was for like children.
It's for shaheed.
Might be children also. I remember something like that for children. But all of this.
So what is the tradition?
Shaheeds and or children in paradise their souls will be in like these special green birds, and they'll have wings and this and that. They fly around. They go fly.
In paradise or
The paradise.
Well, if you got to paradise, good
is that during the Barzakh or
Maybe.
later?
This would be Day of Judgment and beyond.
Okay.
Maybe. That's what I was just wondering. You guys are probably too young to know the Wonder Twins.
Yes.
You know the Wonder Twins?
Bucket of water.
Yeah, why weren't they like form of Superman? You know? You know,
Or real.
form of a bucket of water. You know, form of Superman with no weakness to kryptonite. You know, and then do that stuff. Yeah, you know.
I don't know what cartoon you're talking about.
Sorry,
What cartoon is this?
this is Super Friends. There were these two twins, and they looked like they were like Filipino or something, right? And Filipino Vulcans because they had like pointy ears, right?
Okay.
And so anytime their superpower was that they'd hit each other's fists. Also, one would be some material thing, form of an eagle, and the other person would be something related to water, right?
Form of bucket of water.
Yeah, like literally, they turn into bucket of water, or like form of an ice sled, you know.
Yeah, they're like
We had
Korean.
Captain Planet. Oh,
Captain
Planet, doesn't
That-
compare.
no, it was so good.
To
Like it was all
the
about
Hall of
saving the
Justice.
Earth and everything. It was so
Yeah,
good.
ours was
Oh,
the same
it's
year.
environmental.
Yeah.
But except for one of them, he had the dumbest
Liberals.
power. He had like power of heart or something. So all of them had cool powers like water, earth, whatever. He's like heart,
Yeah.
and it was like.
None of the Super Friends had cool
It was
powers.
like-
There was Apache Chief. You remember Apache Chief? You're not Chuck. And then he was this Indian Native American guy, like, speaking of the ancient Apache word for grow. And he'd get really good. Yeah. You guys don't remember this? I mean, your thing. Do you remember this?
No, I was still learning how to speak English back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Alrighty,
And he was
so-
walking with his
Oh, ha.
and then, samurai warrior. And then there was like they had this Latino guy, El Dorado. I forgot what his power was.
Gold.
Better than heart.